Is it Halloween yet? So I thought what I would do is scare the hell out of you and share with you some horror stories, and these are all on the internet. And actually, one was spontaneous this morning by someone we're talking to who just experienced this horrible onboarding process. So let's get scared. So this person accepted the job via an email, didn't hear anything for 14 days. When HR followed up, they couldn't even remember who she was and when she was supposed to start. Gone. When the person came to the office, it was empty, no furniture, no computer. All she had was a box of tissues her first day. I won't tell you what she did with them. And the person arrived in the new job, and they walked in and they didn't know the person they were talking to was losing their job. What a way to find out, right? And the offer letter was made to somebody else. This never happens, right? This happens too often. Let's take a few more. Security wouldn't allow me to walk through the gates and kept the staff from coming in. They were all backed up behind them. How do you think she felt or he felt when they finally got through and they're all late for work? Or, due to red tape, I didn't have access to the system I needed to perform my job for 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Or, I thought I was going to get a drug test, I got a complete physical. True stories. They got my location wrong, they gave me the indirect start date, and they didn't send me any information regarding expectations, such as who to ask for, what time to get to, and where to bring me in. Or, I was really excited about my new role, transferred to a company with a new location. I was really off to a good start, but on day 2, I saw nobody. The difference between orientation and onboarding. The manager made a point of making sure he was there on my first day. He knew where I was sitting, and the boss started yelling at me to get condition report. Except, it was my first day at the newspaper. I didn't know what a condition report was. A major defense contractor hired somebody, had a temporary office. So what do they do with the temporary office? They put him in a conference room. And he was there with the computer for 2 weeks. And that's where he was. They left him alone. But he made good productivity out of it because he used it to find a job, searching on the internet. A new manager met me at the door, dropped me off at my desk without bothering to show me around or introduce me to anybody. I had to ask someone where to find the restroom. I didn't have minutes worth of training when he dropped me off. I felt like the George Costanza Penske file. Who watches Seinfeld? George Costanza. So, for those of you that haven't watched the episode, you got to Google this and watch it on YouTube. So George walks in for an interview, and the manager and the owner of the company says, "George, I'm really getting some good vibes with you. I think this is going to work." And he gets interrupted by his secretary to take a phone call, and he goes on vacation for 2 weeks. So George didn't get an answer. But knowing George says, "I'm going to get the job anyway. I'm going to show up on the job." So George goes and shows up on the job and says, "Hi, I'm George. Who are you?" "Oh, I'm the new manager." And then they said, "Well, what office do you want, the big one or the small one?" He says, "I'll take the small one, it's okay." So then he's in the office, doesn't know what to do, and the secretary comes in and said, "Here's the Penske file." He says, "Great." Of course, no clarity, no instructions, no anything. So he sits there and he says, "What do I know how to do?" About the only thing George knows how to do is put things in alphabetical order, right? So then he spends a week screwing around doing nothing. He's playing little drums with his pencils and everything. And then his boss returns as he's sleeping on the desk with the newspaper over his face. And his boss says, "What the hell's going on? What did you do with the Penske material? You're not Penske material. What did you do with the file?" And so what you don't know is Mr. Penske came to see George and really liked George and had to leave because his car was being towed. So when the boss said to George, "You're not Penske material," George says, "I quit. I'm going to go work for Mr. Penske." So what does he do? He goes to work for Mr. Penske, except when he shows up, Mr. Penske said, "You misunderstood me. I don't have a job for you. I just liked how you put things in alphabetical order. Our CEO's going to jail, and we're closing down the company. And by the way, your car is being towed too." So a lot of lessons here, right? The lessons are clarity, make sure you understand, give clear directions, set expectations, all those things.